What's up, y'all? Kyle Hamilton here. I want to give a quick shout out to Lucas, Connor, and Ryan in the Week Zero podcast.
Jackson rolling out, 3rd and 7 after the penalty, and it's a completion to Kuma. He's still running. Kuma breaks free against a tired defense as the Hokies deliver the dagger here in Tallahassee. Empty look for Richardson. Oh, that is danger! Oh my! Keidron Smith cuts inside, and he's gonna pick-six it in the swamp. Cat scratch fever Smith.
DJ is picked off, intercepted again by Benjamin Morrison. Here goes Morrison down the sideline. Can he go? Yes, he can. Touchdown, pick six, Benjamin Morrison. Nix drops back underneath. Touchdown, Ducks. Wow. Chase Taylor.
Welcome, everyone, to a new episode of The Goaltender. I am your host, Ryan Fervell, with my co-host, Sean, at Indy Forever. We are back. We were supposed to go live yesterday, but we had a little miscommunication going on. But anyway, Sean, everything seems to be coming up Irish the last week. Man, what was it like this week when you found out elite 4-star linebacker out of St. John Bosco, Kyngston, Viliamu-Asa, committed to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish?
Dude, I was hype. I just finished Barbenheimer, and I saw that when I got out the theater, and it was pretty exciting. It's hard to contain your excitement when a big elite talent like that commits, right?
For sure. I mean, I don't know where you were, but I was doing a actual Twitter Twitter space with Notre Dame Prime, live reacting to the commitment. And the first thing that we did when he said, I'm going to go to Notre Dame, I just went, yeah. Like everyone in the space was just going insane. So, but yeah, so let's get into it. I'll pull his stuff up real quick. But Sean, what is Notre Dame? What are Notre Dame fans and what is Notre Dame getting in the 4-star elite linebacker out of St. John Bosco?
We're getting an all-around elite inside linebacker, right? He's not going to be like Junior Tuialamaka and switch, go play Viper. He's going to be a true inside linebacker. And with all these, super seniors and seniors leaving, he has a really big chance at getting a elite playing time right away. But we're getting what can I say? He's the perfect linebacker, because let me say that you are not just getting a stud at certain things like, oh, he's just really good at hard hitting. He's really good at coverage. He's just really good at everything, right? He's pretty even. He's not like, oh, he's a hard-hitting linebacker. He's a all-around talented linebacker. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And, one of the things I former Notre Dame linebacker Mike Goolsby talked about this the other day. He's not one of those guys that's like a Jalen Sneed was a couple years ago, that was a 5-star linebacker that athletically just did some things that was just, insane. But he, in terms of a linebacker, he's insane at everything. He may not have the athleticism of a Jalen Sneed, but he's one of those linebackers that you just know, I'm going to put on the field and he's going to make the right play. He's going to make the right decision, the right read. And he's so technically sound. And one thing that stood out to me was Mike Goolsby said he would be surprised if he doesn't see playing time as a freshman.
Yeah.
Are you kind of in that same boat?
It's hard not to compare to a certain somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. He doesn't have the ranking that this person once had, but it's hard not to say how the commitment went down, the story of it, him being Polynesian, of not comparing to Monte Teo, right? It's just hard. Is he as good as Teo? Probably not, right?
Mhm.
Teo's probably the best I've ever seen, right? Um, but he's got an ability, and the story's there for him to start day one, have early impact like Teo, and I I agree. I think he could, especially with all these, like right now, this linebacker room is having trouble because of all our super seniors and seniors, right? So,
Mhm.
with them gone, he could earn playing time right away.
Yeah, and I think it's tough though because I know, I really could see him playing as a freshman, but I also think it's tough. Obviously, we know Maris Leofau, Kaiser, um, or not, yeah,
Bertrand.
Kaiser and Bertrand will all be gone by the time he gets to campus. Um, but I look at the likes of like a Jaden Osbury, a Drac Bowen. Those two guys for me, and a Jalen Sneed as well.
Hey, Preston too.
And
Preston
Preston Zinter,
I've heard he's looked
Alamaka.
amazing.
I mean, I think that it's just the linebacker room for Notre Dame. Tell me if I'm wrong, Sean. Is the best it's been in a long time.
Oh yeah,
Top to bottom.
it's a deep linebacker room, deep, and it's impressive to see. You know, it makes you happy as a Notre Dame fan to see the progression that we've made, going from 3 stars, occasional 4 stars, to consistent top talent. You know,
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out before we go too far into this is I don't know if you saw the quote he talked about with Hayes Fawcett
Yeah,
from On Three, that he said he couldn't see himself at Notre Dame. He could see himself at USC. He could see himself at Ohio State. It looked like things were trending towards Ohio State the week leading up to his commitment. And then he went on that church mission trip, and he came back and he said that he wanted to go somewhere that was hard for him to pick. Which, if we remember, back to you saying he kind of reminds you of Manti Te'o. If you watch the documentary, Manti Te'o talked about how he didn't want to go to Notre Dame.
yeah,
He wanted to go to USC. He grew up, a USC fan. He knew a lot of former teammates of his that played at USC. And there said the key word that he said was God told him to go to Notre Dame.
yeah.
So, first of all, insane quote by KVA. Insane quote. One of the best quotes I've ever seen. But can we get God on the phone and, tell him to go hit up Justin Scott, Caleb Beasley, and Ryan Wingo real quick?
I think you should do it, buddy. Man, if we can, if we get more quotes like this, other teams are in trouble, right?
On our side, man.
Yeah, teams are in trouble if we're getting some quotes like that. So, I took it the wrong way at first, to be honest.
Yeah.
When I saw he didn't want to go to Notre Dame, that rubbed me the wrong way. But you know what? When you can get a talent like this, you don't question it, right?
Yeah.
So I like his reasoning. I like the quote. I think it's a good quote. It's definitely one of the most unique recruiting cycles we probably have ever seen. So.
Yeah, and what something about his commitment that was kind of odd just to begin with. He was a very quiet kid, kind of like how Gerby is with his recruitment. He didn't let any of the staffs know that he was committing until the morning of. When do you ever see that out of a recruit? I think that's pretty rare in today's age. Most of the time, it seems like these kids know a week in advance of their commitment date where they're going to go. And at that point, they let the coaching and staff know. But let me ask you this. With that quote in mind, does it scare you a little bit of holding on to KVA's commitment going forward?
No, he's the type of kid that when he makes a commitment, he's sticking with the commitment. Because, if he says, what he couldn't see, trust God with that situation, if he turned his back on that commitment, some people could take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
So his reasoning of committing, I don't see him changing his mind. I think he grows close with this class, and he shuts down his recruitment. And he's going to arguably be the one of the best players in this class.
What do you think? Do you think he's, outside of CJ Carr and Cam Williams, would you say he's the third best prospect?
I'd say second best.
Really?
Cam Williams third, and and it's no dogging on Cam Williams. That's just how good he is, right?
For sure. One last thing on KVA, and I thought this was kind of interesting. So I'm gonna kind of take my victory lap here, Sean, because I made a post a little over a month ago when KVA took his official visit to Notre Dame.
Yep.
That he was a heavy Notre Dame lean from what I was hearing after his visit. If you guys don't believe me, go ahead and go look on my Twitter right now. Scroll down. It's one of my most recent tweets. But I called it a month ago that he was going to commit. I'm a recruiting analyst at the Irish Tribune now. People that don't know, we're starting to get things ramped up to where we're going to start doing predictions, kind of like what On3 and 247 do. I'm going to be kind of leading that front. So KVA was actually my first prediction to land in Notre Dame. So I'm 1 for 1, Sean. But back then when I made that prediction, I had Ohio State fans and USC fans in my mentions calling me, fake news. He's going to go be an Ohio State guy, USC guy, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm going to take him out. I'm going to take it, man. I'm going to take my
Justin
victory
Scott
lap.
or KVA?
Huh?
Do you prefer Scott or KVA?
I feel like Justin Scott, we need more because of a defensive line, but they're both elite. And I think this is one of those things where KVA is very underranked.
I agree.
I think, was it On3 has him at the 27th best linebacker?
Yeah, On3 it's sad.
Do you view him as a 5-star talent? Because that's how I view him.
Borderline. I could agree
5-star.
with a 4-star, but he's definitely a top 75 player.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Anything below that, I feel like, and I definitely think he's has a legit argument to be top 5 linebacker in the class.
Agreed.
For sure.
100%.
For sure.
This is a massive get for the Irish. This 2024 class is arguably better than the 2023 class. If we land it with Gerby Lambert and end it and get a few other pieces, how many 4 and high 5 stars that we got in last year's class? If you compare between the two, this is an offensive heavy. 23 was a defensive heavy. You combine these classes, it's elite.
Oh, and for sure, people just a couple weeks ago when Justin Scott made his decision. I'm sure you saw it too, Sean. Notre Dame fans all over, talking about how Marcus Freeman is not, getting his job done. He's not recruiting better than Brian Kelly, blah, 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 blah.
He is.
And I saw a lot of Irish fans that were like, man, we're not going to get KVA, whatever. But just when we got KVA, how the tune of the fan base changed. And you think about it now, Justin Scott stunk, okay? But outside of Justin Scott, who else in this recruiting cycle can you say that Notre Dame actually lost? Besides maybe Caleb Beasley.
I would argue Elijah Rushing.
You think? I think they didn't really have a chance for him at the start because of the NIL concept, but
agree, but I think they lost on him. Like they would have gladly taken him.
Yeah, but I mean, like out of guys that they had a legit shot getting, Justin Scott that's the only guy that really comes to mind. Maybe Caleb Beasley, but that was a year ago.
Peyton Woodyard.
Yeah. But that was so long ago. Didn't he commit like right at the beginning of the season last year?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, but realistically, Notre Dame hit on almost all of their top targets. Last year they lost a lot of guys. Keon Keeley, Dylan Edwards, Lamar. Who else did they lose? I'm slipping my mind right now, but
Well, Lamar wasn't a big loss in the grand scheme of things if you consider
Jeremiah
what they've
Love.
got. Yes, and it's tough because who's gonna be the back? Is it Jeremiah Love? Price coming back? It's exciting. But yeah, this class, 24 class, I think is way better than last year's.
So,
But we have a lot of diamond in the roughs too that can.
Yeah, for sure. So, coming into full circle, before fall camp started a couple days ago, we got breaking news that Coach Balis, the strength and conditioning coach for Notre Dame, was going to resign.
Yep.
What are your initial thoughts on his resignation? And how do you think this hurts Notre Dame at all? And how do you think about the guy they replaced him with?
I think Audric is upset right now. All right. he ain't got nobody to make him bigger than what he is. No, I'm just kidding. But I thought it was a big loss. I think he's a big key piece of the program, and he's not even like an elite like assistant to the coaching staff. Like, I mean, he's just like he's a strength coach. It's usually not really a big position, right? But you could feel his presence there at Notre Dame. So I do think that it's a loss for the Irish. It doesn't look like he was fired. It looks like he was he handed his resignation. So
yeah, and I've seen rumors online from Notre Dame fans. So this is, take it for what it's worth. Anything I'm saying right now, just take with a grain of salt because it's all speculation. Yep. But things I've seen, it was a bunch of little things. He had a heart condition, family issues, him butting heads with either players or staff. Not letting him do the things he wanted to do in the weight room with the players.
Yep.
So whether it be that or whatever, like I said, they're all rumors and speculation right now. I'm sure at some point
we'll find out.
We'll find out what happened. But how do you feel about the guy that is coming in? Because I know that it seems like he's the very complete opposite of what Coach Balis was in terms of personality.
They haven't officially announced him yet.
They haven't?
No, I don't think they've officially replaced him. I think
Well, not replaced. It's an interim, I believe.
Yeah. So the interim seems. I mean, I think he was a strength coach at another university. So, it's going to be hard to replace someone like Balis. But if anyone does, good luck. I mean, he's a great strength coach, but I think the Irish will be fine. It's nothing to lose sleep over,
Mm-hmm.
It's not like Al Golden was like, I'm leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then I'd freak out.
So, and then going into our final topic, obviously Notre Dame has started fall camp. Today was the second practice, day 2. From everything I've seen, some few notes here. Benjamin Morrison is the guy that we thought he was last year. Evidently, every play that he's been involved in is a must-watch from what I've heard. I believe he picked off Sam Hartman once. Jaden Mickey is another name that keeps coming up. He got 2 picks in day 1.
Yeah.
One off of Sam Hartman and then another one off of Minchie, sorry.
No, I think it was Angeli.
Was it Angeli?
Yeah, I think Minchie didn't throw an interception.
But another thing is Jadarian Price, and I thought this was pretty interesting. He is running with the number 2s right now as the second string running back behind Audric Estime.
Yep.
That to me is kind of shocking. Not that because I don't think he's a great player and everything, but you have a guy like Devin Ford, who is very experienced. He's a junior, highly thought of recruit. He was a 5-star recruit. I believe he was actually maybe the number 2 running back in his class. I can't exactly remember, but for him to, it seems like right now at least, have the upper hand on a guy like that, must speak volumes of how good Jabron Payne is.
Yes.
So let me ask you this. If you were Coach Freeman right now, how would you have the running back room stacked up?
Audric starting, right? It's first, second as a rotational piece. Whoever's better, Price or Love.
Okay.
Payne third, and then I'm sorry that the transfer
Devin
Ford. He's just, we can use him in situations if needed, but we need to develop these young guys because we don't know if Audric's coming back next year. He should, but we don't know. So it just depends on how he plays, and if we have someone like Love who has some decent snaps as a freshman, or Price who comes back from that injury really well, we got another few years from them.
I mean, the fact that Jadarian Price right now is, and I'm sorry, it was Jadarian Price that is number 2 running back right now.
Yeah.
Is, right there. I also thought it was really interesting that in every offensive set, whether that be first, second, third team offense,
Yeah.
Jabron Payne has been on the field as like a utility guy. I thought that was kind of interesting. He never came off the field, I believe, in day one. And then you've got Jeremiah Love, who I think ran the third team offense, third team running back. And also he was seen playing in the slot a little bit. So I think it's really interesting how we utilize all these talented backs. I know Freeman a week ago said that Jeremiah Love is just so talented that he's going to see the field. They're going to utilize him.
It's just hard. It's such a deep room this year.
Like, how do you feed everyone in the room?
If he does, he's damn good.
Yo, what's up, Jaden? How are you
So
doing, man?
I'm gonna say the surprise for me was 100% Chris Tyree in the slot. I've heard that he looked extremely well and could possibly start this year. So
yeah. On that note, also Tobias Merriweather, I guess, has been good, but it kind of, I know it's just camp and it's only day 2, but so far through 2 days, he hasn't been the number 1 receiver that we thought.
Is it a Lorenzo Styles 2.0?
I hope not. I don't think so. But no, I don't want to dig too much into 2 days of camp, but it does kind of worry me a little bit. Although, like you said, I've heard great things about Chris Tyree in the slot.
Yes.
Great things. It just seems like it's more natural for him. He doesn't have to worry about the line of scrimmage, lining up. He gets to just utilize his speed. But another name I wanted to mention is Jaden Thomas.
Yes.
So I've heard great things. He didn't practice today because of a migraine, but Jaden Thomas, I've heard, has been insane in practice, and so has Braylon James.
Who would have thought over Jordan Johnson and Lorenzo Styles that he would be the one?
Jaden Thomas? That is insane to think about.
Who would have thought? It's just to show that you shouldn't entirely go off rankings. Right?
For sure.
I heard he's balled out too. And I heard that Braylon James has been amazing. I heard that he had to do some push-ups just because
he messed up on a route.
Yep. So, but I've heard too that not Rico. That Rico's looked pretty good too.
Yeah. So, I haven't heard too much about Great House yet, which when you watch the spring game is kind of weird, but
it's tough because Great House seems like the most likely to break out this year. And I haven't heard much of Colsey either, and I think Colsey has a big chance to do something big.
I guess, and then if you look at the defensive side of the ball, one thing that does worry me is that the linebackers seem the top 3, Maris Leofau, Kaiser, and Bertrand.
Yeah.
Really good. But all of our linebackers have struggled with covering running backs, tight ends, and seem to be a step slow. So that kind of worries me a little bit. And then another worry I have is Sam Hartman. It's only through 2 days of camp, so he didn't do too much the second day. I think that today was just mainly throwing the receivers, kind of just open, not under pressure or anything, working on footwork. But I know day one he worked on red zone drills, and he didn't look too good. I think they said Stephen Jelly outplayed him in the red zone drills, but I know that's red zone, so you don't have
a full landscape of things.
Yeah, you don't have the whole field to work with, and I think Sam Hartman is at his best when he has, he's working on a drive and he's got his groove and stuff like that. But does that worry you at all?
No, I think there's a reason they're focusing on red zone. So I'm not worried at all about it. I don't think you should either. Hartman looked great in the spring game. It's early in the fall. He'll start to get a groove of things, and Navy will whoop their ass, right? Especially as the season goes on. Hartman, I'm not worried about. I am surprised that Angeli has been playing the way he has been. I kind of expected him to be the third quarterback to take a leap forward, and I guess if he's playing over Minchie, that's great.
I've heard great things about Minchie too. I know Stephen Jelly's balled out in camp so far, so that's actually kind of a good sign.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got a few comments here. Jaden says that GOAT jersey is looking clean. He is the GOAT, Jaden. Thank you for that. So Joshua, he's my one of my co-hosts over Week 0, said you'd think they'd have something for migraines in terms of Jaden Thomas's migraine and not playing in practice, which is kind of weird. I also heard today that it was 90 degrees in South Bend, and Marcus Freeman had them do practice outside.
That's good, though. I saw Brendan Vernon was struggling. Let them get used to the heat, especially.
I heard it was too hot to handle for some of the freshmen, though. So
definitely. I did too. So I heard Vernon, but I've heard the defensive line: Vernon, Trubcore. I'm missing the pronunciation. Trubcore, the freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yep, Bubakor. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also heard Armel Mukum, who is a late addition to last year's class, has absolutely been killing it.
I have too.
I heard he beat Blake Fisher in a rep, which is insane.
You know what's crazy? Oh, we lose on Will Shipley, but we get Logan Diggs and Audric, right? Oh my God. But then they break out. We lose on Keon Keeley, and this dude's coming in as a 3-star acting like Keon Keeley. Am I wrong or am I right?
Yeah. So then Josh says, "Yo, what are we grilling? What are we grilling, Sean? Tell the viewers what we're grilling there."
We grilling some burgers, and we're making some homemade potato skins inside, and I'm grilling some bacon for the burgers and potato skins.
Dude, you just made me hungry, and I just ate Alfredo, so that sounds good.
Woo.
So then, Jaden, I do recognize you from these Madman streams. I appreciate you for tuning in. You are a real one for that. Let's see. It is hot out today, Josh says. 98 degrees for Louisville. He's a Kentucky fan, so that, yeah. Well, what was it, 90 degrees for camp today for Notre Dame? But it was the humidity was 90%, which is even worse.
Yeah.
Baby Diggs. Look at that baby Logan Diggs. Well, I guess he's
better than Logan Diggs. Hey, I will never forget that hurdle though against Virginia. But
that was yeah.
But I will say that, watch out for this running back room. It's so deep that I do see one transferring in a year or two, like a Jabron Payne or something. But it's so deep, especially next year when we get Williams and Kendron Young. Expect.
I forgot about Aeneas Williams and Kedron Young.
Yeah, one's going to transfer. There's going to be someone. If it's whoever plays more, Love, Price, or Payne, the person that doesn't play is leaving. It's going to happen.
Think?
It's going to happen. There's no way they all stay. So.
Well, especially if Audric comes back another year.
Yeah, and I think he should. But, he's also could be super pro ready, right, compared to other
have you seen his thighs and his freaking shoulders? That dude's already Derrick Henry pro ready.
Yeah, dude, that dude would kill a dude instantly, right?
But
On the field.
for
But
sure.
one more thing about practice I wanted to
Go ahead.
mention was I saw too that the Billy Scrouth and Andrew Christophic was looking pretty good. It's looking like they're going to be the guards. And I'm a little surprised because a lot of people were wanting Rocco to play a lot year one, but it looks like Billy might be a young offensive lineman, the next big thing for Notre Dame.
Yeah, Burley Schroth for sure. I mean, that dude. When he came on campus as a freshman, I'm like, this guy is going to start. He's going to start at some point.
Yeah.
Zeke Correll is another guy that I've heard amazing things about his improvement, not only playing, but he's also improving as a leader. I heard he was coaching up some of the freshmen today. So I like that.
It's about time.
It's about time.
It's about time. This dude's been here so long, he needs to improve. But I'm glad he's starting to shape up. We look good at center, and one of the guards need to step up. So I'm excited about the offensive line this year. I will say too that it seems that Freeman has cleaned out the house of Kelly.
Yes. Yes.
So I wanted to mention that too. That it's looking like this is all Freeman now.
Yep. All his coaching staff and all his recruits starting to fly in. So, but anyway, great show as always, Sean. I appreciate everyone in the comments for hopping in, tuning in as well. Give the show a like if you liked it. Go ahead and subscribe down below.
Even if you didn't, give it a like.
Even if you didn't, give it a like. But anyway, this has been the Gold Standard with your host, Ryan Fervell, with my buddy, co-host, Andy Forever, Sean. Anyways, guys, have a great day. And as always, go Irish.
Go Irish.